Hey guys, what's up? This is Mando-Bricks, and I'm really excited to bring you this video because this is something that I have been working on for probably months now, and it's kind of been ridiculous how long that this has taken. But I think it really paid off when I finished it eventually. This is the MOC that I've kind of been rumoring in my last few videos. If you haven't seen those, go check them out. Those have mostly been just some smaller MOCs that I've been working on, kind of just in between this one when I've gotten kind of bored with the meticulous work that's gone into this. But this is my Firespray 31 attack and assault craft, patrol and attack craft, which was used by, most famously, by Boba and Jango Fett in the Clone Wars into the Galactic Civil War, and yeah, and also past that in probably canon and Legends. Of course, you're pretty obviously going to notice that this is not Boba's or Jango's ship, but this is instead my own variant that I put together. So this is kind of like a Firespray 31 that, you know, also existed along with the Slave one, which is the one that's more famously known, but it is not that Slave one. So, yeah, kind of complicated there, but it's basically just my excuse for this not being that color scheme, because I just don't have those pieces. So, yeah. But, as far as I know, this is really the only Slave one that is on YouTube at the time when I'm filming this, as far as I know, that is not Boba or Jango Fett's, and is also minifig scale, because the other one is a UCS, which is technically not minifig scale. It's actually a little bit smaller, but this one actually is minifig scale. It's a little bit more than 70 studs long, which is about you know, a stud to a foot. That's about how that's the regular conversion, and Slave one I think is like 71 feet long, from this part over here to the end. So yeah. But that's the stats and official information. I'm going to start going through this MOC and seeing how it relates to the set and also minifigures. So, just to get it done with, this is a minifigure next to this MOC. As you can see, it's very small, but when you look at some other pictures that you can find on the internet of Slave 1, you can see just how big of a ship it is, even though it looks pretty small, and a lot of the LEGO renderings are also very small. This does have a full interior, by the way, just to get that out of the way. I'll address that later. And you may also notice that it does not have a windshield. That is because if I tried to do that, first of all, it would just look ridiculously clunky, and I would have like other pieces going through there to try to keep it all together, and it just would look terrible, and I thought that it would be better without one. So, that's over with. And no, the UCS windshield piece is too small for that. So, yeah, that's not really an option that I could have used there. But this is a minifig next to it. If you want to see the traditional Slave one's actual owner next to it, there's Boba Fett, and I'll put them in the cockpit seat in a bit, just so you can see the scaling of that. So I'll take that out. And then this is the most recent Slave one that has been on the market. I think this came out in 2019. But when you size this up, you know, this is a bit in front of the ship, so it looks bigger. But this is a lot smaller than the actual ship, and maybe I can move my camera so you guys can kind of see more of the scale of that. Yeah, it's a whole lot smaller, almost twice as small. If you line it up with the fronts over here, it goes to about that line there. Line it there. So this is about maybe half scale of where it should actually be. So there's an interesting representation, and this has a whole lot less functionality than mine does. So I'm quite proud of myself for that. So I'll just start with the front and start moving back. As you go backwards, you'll find more and more weaponry. So this is kind of that stock Firespray 31, but with some of the modifications that Boba and Jango made to it, just because I really wanted to include that in my finished MOC, and I did. So, when you start at the front, I have to keep it on this big plywood board because it's really hard to move it around otherwise. But if we start at the front here, we can see I have some sticker detailing there. We have the, you know, curved dome part, and then starting with the more of where the ship interior is. This is kind of a great thing that you can see in some of the cross sections right above it. And then that has a transition into the rest of the ship, which will go into the tail and the body later. You can see the cockpit here. I'll go more into the interior later. That does shift for flight mode, by the way. But yep, so pretty standard, just curve. I use some ball and socket joints for that. That's some hinge pieces and angled bricks and such like that I use to build those front sections. And let's move along, since I don't want to drive this out too long. So here is the wing section, and this can turn all the way. It's just that this board is kind of stopping it, but this can move all the way. I have this kind of gridded section in the back with these kind of angled pieces protruding there. And then this is actually all, the center, the structure of it is a snot method stud snot on top. That's the acronym. And then I have some plates on top of that to add some of the more three-dimensional aspects of it. This thing kind of acts as the pistons that you can see in there. They kind of use some binocular pieces and clips on the set that I just showed you. And then got this little piece, which is kind of not really ever noticed much, but it's in there. So again, this can move all the way, and then we have this vane. I intentionally did this without studs so that you cannot have an Ahsoka Tano who gets on there, cuts it off, and then the ship crashes like happened in the Clone Wars. So that was an intentional feature. Also, I just thought it was the best way to build it. We have kind of the socket there, and it's really hard to see it because there's only really shadow there, so I can get a little flashlight just so that you can see it better. But in here, I do have some details in here. I have the circular piece there, and then some grills going out to the side, which are on both sides if you can see it, and then there's another piece down there that kind of finishes that off. So yeah, that's all there is really to the inside of the wing. I try to get as much detail and accuracy in there as possible, and yeah. So as we move back, you know, of course, see the continuation of this dome here, and I'll get into the ramp later. But of course, here's that dome. There are some pieces here that has some detailing on the side of the ship. And then this transitions. This is a whole lot of like angled Technic work inside there. So that's why that looks kind of sloppy. In the future, I do intend on making that better and improving that design so it's a bit flatter and more streamlined. And then moving into the tail, I guess I'll stop here real quick. I do have the, I forgot exactly what those were called, but I do have the guns that point out there. I'll orient the ship so that you can see it better, and this is going to be helpful in a bit as well. But you can indeed put one of these in there if you want to put it on a display or something. So, yep. So those are the cannons that Jango famously uses while hunting Obi-Wan Kenobi in the asteroid field. And I'll go ahead and take this off and put that away. But that folds very nicely and smoothly into the rest of the ship. So I'll move my camera, and as we can see, I of course have the main turrets that everyone knows and love on the Slave 1, and these can be independently moved, and you can also, since it's like a donut set is what I call it, you can indeed put one of these in there. So yeah. When you turn that to the side, I have some interior work that you can see in the cross sections and stuff. So if you move that downwards, then you can actually flip up this entire panel if it's aligned correctly, which happens to not happen. As you can see, that just snapped off, so that's kind of been an issue before, but maybe I'll fix that later. But there's kind of a bed space inside there where you can put in 2 minifigures. And then this is actually a crawl space that works as an engineering space and stuff that helps Boba do repairs throughout the spine of the ship, and there are not any rooms back there, just by the way. So this is mainly following the Boba Fett Slave 1 cross section, and that area over there is following more of the Jango Fett one. So yeah. So I'm going to close this panel. I'm not going to worry about reattaching that piece just yet. It's kind of just trivial. But as we move back, I also have the concussion missiles. And this kind of I'll have to align the ship so you can see it, and this camera angle will be helpful in a moment anyway. So we got this here, and this is the missiles that Jango Fett uses while chasing Obi-Wan, and I have those on both sides, of course. And those just tuck nicely and smoothly into that using some Technic pieces. I have some detailing on that area. And let's put this back in the stand. We'll go ahead and lower this. And you can see that full walkway into the ship there, into the interior. And this is pretty simply operated. This slides down. That little piece that I have right there, I use that to basically just be able to pull it up and down because it's kind of hard. And then this ramp can hinge and go downwards to touch the ground. It would touch the ground, but I have that board there, as I said. And then also this folds upwards, and a minifig can fit in that space, if you can see it in there, which you probably cannot because of the shadows and stuff. But there's a full ladder and stuff for when the ship is vertically oriented. So yeah, that's basically all there is to that, and that automatically stops there. I'm not going to worry about that because that is pretty hard to put back. That's something that I will improve later. Any improvements that I do make to the ship in the future, by the way, I will make a video on just so you guys can see the progress that I've made with this particular MOC. So we'll slide this back up and get back to it. Now to kind of see the interior space, and you can't really see it because it's all in shadow, but you can actually remove this piece and fold out that panel, and there's kind of there's a hole in there that you can look into the main space with, but I'm not going to worry about that for sake of time, and I don't want to bore you guys too much. It's pretty shadowy, so you can't really see that much in there. But moving to this area, this is one of my prouder focuses, and I'll take this out of the stand so that you guys can actually, see that a whole lot better. But a minifig can be positioned here in the main pilot seat and here in the co-pilot seat. And this all can pivot for the vertical flight mode. And as it pivots, you can also see these chairs come to focus there, which are in most pictures of it in cross sections and such. As we look back there, there's a ladder that helps you get to the airlock, and yes, it does have a fully functional airlock. I might have another video that actually addresses that because you can't really see it, and there is complete detail on the bottom. It's just that you can't really see it because of, I just can't pick this thing up and show you the bottom right now. This ladder can move like this, to look at like it does in some fan art and stuff, and then it can shift down so you can access through that walkway into the airlock area, which you can see it opening onto the plywood that does have closing doors. So yeah. So that's most of the tour. In the body, I do have 2 weapons racks and full interior space, but there's not really a way for me to open it unless I just want to rip the ship apart, which I don't particularly want to do right now because I worked really hard on it. So maybe in a future video, I'll make it so that you can see the bottom and then also see the inside, just to get the other things that I couldn't really show you in this one, because those are, I put a lot of work into that. So I'll probably show you guys eventually. But yeah, I have cross because I'm Christian, so don't yell at me in the comments for that, please, because that would be kind of just cancel culture being annoying. And then I also have a Mandalorian symbol there, all made with Lego bricks. Of course, this has no stickers besides the one that I got from an A-Wing on the front. And yeah, that's basically all there is to it. So I really worked really hard on this, and I will be making changes to it and making it better. I have some other MOCs planned for the future that I really am excited to do. And if you guys want to see those come to fruition, please do put a like on the video, subscribe, put up the notification bell, comment below on what you want me to see, what you want me to make a MOC on. And yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun building this and fun filming this, and I hope you guys have a great day. As far as MOCs for the future, I'm kind of thinking either a Star Destroyer of my own design or a Pelican dropship from Halo. So maybe if you guys comment below, you can be the deciding factor on that one. I have some other videos coming up on just some other MOCs that I have lying around that I think you guys might want to see. So yeah. Please do, as I said, subscribe, put a like on the video, comment below, put the bell notification up to see the content that I can pump out next. And I really hope you guys have a great day and keep on building. Sorry if this video was a bit long. Have a great day.